We are back for another episode of the podcast, and we got a treat for you today. Matt Choi coming from Austin, Texas. My man just ran the Austin Marathon, is about to run the LA Marathon, and I'm sure he's got more on his plate for the rest of the year too. So we're going to get into all of that. Matt, what's up, man? We're pumped to have you on Elevation Nation.
Dude, I'm super hyped to be here, man. I appreciate the intro, and I'm super excited to chop it up with y'all, man. I'm super pumped.
It's going to be special. And, you know, Matt, one of the coolest things about Elevation Nation is during the pandemic, I think people that are like us, as we call them, elevators, extroverts, people who want more out of life, trying to network, that kind of shut down for a little while. And it was a little bit tough going from, you know, being in university or whatever you're doing at the working world, meeting all these new people, going to networking events, bars, and then all of a sudden that was dead. And so Parker and I, part of the reason we started Elevation Nation was to soul search ourselves and figure out what the hell this thing called young adulthood is. And then two, selfishly, we get to meet incredible people like you. So the fact that you were introduced to us through one of our, I guess two of our very special elevators, AJ and Emily Eckstein, like, is just incredible. And I love it. And welcome to the nation, man. We're so glad to have you.
Dude, I'm super pumped, and I always tell Em, you know, it's funny how me and Em even met. Like, it was fun because, you know, this was about a year ago when I first met Emily. I was in the fitness space, obviously, and I was trying to, you know, work with a subscription service, and she was working with Playbook at the time, and we were on a call, and I was like, yeah, I just moved to Austin, and she was like, no shit. She's like, you need to come out to Raw Running every Tuesday, and I'm like, I run. Let me go. And that was the first time I got connected with M. And then when AJ ended up moving out here in the summertime, I was like, oh shit, AJ's just as much energy
There's
as
a
her.
boy version of Emily. I love it.
Exactly. So it's been super fun connecting with them. And my brother just moved out to Austin, and he's been getting super connected with AJ. They're very similar in just how they are the connectors. And I think it's great to have that in your life. And I have nothing but positive things to say about both of them.
What is up with Austin? Everyone in the whole world, I feel like, is moving to Austin. You hear about it, like, what's going on? I mean, I guess the weather's good, the food's good, the people are cool. Like, what is it, man?
I mean, I think, Parker, you hit the nail on the head there. It's like a mixture of all of that. I think, you know, the air here, there's something about it, man. It gets people to be a little bit more friendly. And I think really what it is, it's the people, right? You have, like you said, right? You have people coming from all over the world. And when you come to a new city and you don't know many people, like, if you want to get connected, if you want to make friends, like, you got to show up as the best version of yourself and be a good human. And I think there's a lot of that in Austin, and it kind of garners that type of human. And I think because it's in the middle of the world, you know, you get East Coast energy, you get West Coast energy, Midwest energy, wherever. And it just brings like a different, like, diverse group of humans. And then you come to this city where people are super open-minded, people are trying to grow in whether it's a corporate business sense or in a wellness, fitness sense, like whatever you can, however you want to look at it. Dude, it's a powerful thing, man. Austin's a spot.
It's such a special place. It is. I mean, I went and visited this summer, and I was like, damn, this place just has it all. And especially now with these people moving down there, people like yourself, it's like just such an electric and contagious place. And I don't know, maybe, I'm just saying, maybe in the future it'll be on my plans as well. So we'll have to talk more about that. But Matt, before we get started really into the rest of the podcast, obviously Parker and I know you a little bit, but for Elevation Nation out there listening, let's kind of give them a quick overview. What is your elevator pitch? Who are you?
I love this. I would say my elevator pitch is, you know, I'm a super curious person. I'm very disciplined, and my discipline truly comes from the actions that I take every day. And I think true freedom is being disciplined. But I'm just the type of person that is kind of a go-getter in the sense of I set no limits for myself, and I'm always looking to, like, find out what the next thing is. And it's not that it's a monetary thing. It's not that it's like even like a follower count, right? It's just like I'm on this relentless pursuit of trying to figure out and understand who I am as a human. And as I do that, I get to bring community with me. I get to bring and network with some awesome human beings that have a similar framework. I don't want to be a person that thinks I know everything. The people I surround myself with are typically people way smarter than me, people that are doing better than I am, and all of those things. And I just try to strive to be the best version of myself. And that's who Matt Choi is, in a very quick way, and I guess in a minute there.
Also, how many marathons have you run? You're a runner, right?
I am a runner. I try not to classify myself as just that, though, because I used to do that a lot with football. I used to always say, oh, I'm a football player, But I do run. I found running during the pandemic, and it's really helped me with mental health. It's helped me with physical health. It's helped me with, a lot of stuff. And I've ran, 8 marathons now and a few ultra marathons in the past 2 years. And a lot of people, it's a lot, honestly, for the average human. But like I said, I think true freedom comes in a form of discipline, and that's just my internal belief. So everything I do, even if it's things I don't love to do, I do it as if I love it. And it's that Mike Tyson quote, right? It's like self-discipline is doing the shit you hate, but doing it as if you love it. And if you can do that in life, shit, it gets real easy.
And ultra marathon is 100 miles?
Ultra marathon is anything that's above a marathon. So it starts at 50 kilometers, which is about 31 miles. And then there's 50 milers, 100 milers, 200 milers. There's races that are uncapped. It's just last man standing.
It's just like last person to go.
Bro, it's literally called last man standing. Whoever is the last human that has the most mental
toughness.
What's
like the most?
Bro. Dude, people have gone on some 300-mile races, bro. But I think the common one that's very far is called the Moab 240 in Utah. It's a very well-known race. It typically lasts 2 to 3 days, and it's a fucking it's a daunting of a challenge.
I mean, at that point, it's not even how fast you're going. It's like, how do I keep moving forward? That's bro. It.
Persistence.
Mental fortitude. We'll get into that.
The metaphor of life. How do I keep moving forward? And I think running's beautiful about that. But Matt, I want to hit on one piece that you just said that really resonates with me. So Parker and I have built this nation, right? Elevation Nation. Everyone's what we call an elevator. And you describe yourself as someone who's curious about a lot of things, trying to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, to grow, to learn, to challenge yourself. That is exactly what an elevator is. And that's what we're trying to put some structure and some framework behind, because for a long time, I'm just going to be like a little transparent and introspective here with you for a minute. Mm-hmm. I always struggled with why do I have this mentality, right? And so let me elaborate on that. Growing up, I always used to be like, all right, I got to push a little bit further. I don't really want to celebrate what I've done now. Like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing I want to accomplish? How am I going to get there? What's that next step? What's that next goal for me? And it's funny. I think it's tied a little bit into some anxiety that I have, right? Always thinking ahead and getting nervous or trying to plan that next step. But I also think it's because I have this drive and this curiosity about life that until now I didn't know what that was. And so Parker and I have now built this nation. Everyone we have in Elevation Nation has that same elevator mindset, this mindset to always want more for yourself, to elevate your life and your community. Have you kind of thought about that and how you always are striving for something more, or have you kind of taken a step back now and just said, I want to live in the present moment?
Dude, I love this. And I feel like I'm able to balance both. Even where my mind goes is dude, to your point, you achieve something. Even for me, marathon got completed. I'm like, oh shoot, what's the next race?
Yeah.
What's the next challenge and all these things. And sometimes as humans, we can get lost in the next thing and not appreciate what we have in the current day, in our current state, where our feet are, right? And I love that Dabo Sweeney of yo, be where your feet are, right? Just enjoy this, because tomorrow I don't know if it's guaranteed for me or any of us, right? So I think it's the balance of, yes, having ambition, striving for more, trying to be the best version of yourself. At the same time, not beating yourself up too much, because at the end of the day, none of us know when our last day is, right? So if you don't appreciate the small things and having a level of perspective and a level of gratitude for the things you already have. And I think for me, it's that equal balance, because growing up as a kid, I grew up with a single mom. I had an older brother. We didn't have all the things that most of my friends and other kids at my school would have, whether it was game systems or whether it was the nicest pair of clothes or the nicest pair of shoes. We just were really grateful for having anything, right? And I think for me, it started from at that point. And then as I kind of got older, you start to just you take the core values that you got instilled as a kid, and then you start to form your own opinion on it, right? Because every kid, every person, every human has levels of trauma, good and bad, that might impact them in our current day. But now, using that information, using that data, what are you going to do about it now? And I think that's always been my framework of like, I can't change how I was raised. Do I wish I had my dad in my life more? Of course. Like, what kid doesn't want their dad to be at their football game watching him score touchdowns or throw a touchdown and all of those things? But that's gone now. So all I can do right now in our current day is to now build a better relationship with my father now, right? Instead of dwelling about what happened 20 years ago, what can I do in our current day, March 15th of 2023, to build that relationship better? And that's always my framework, where it's like, yes, I'm always trying to strive for more. But at the same time, bro, I'm so content and I am so grateful for all the things I have right now. And I think for people that are very ambitious, sometimes they don't understand how to balance themselves there. And it also comes to a question of like, why are you trying to do the things? Like, what's the purpose of the chase? And I think for most people, when they actually get introspective about that question, a lot of the time the chase isn't actually for themselves. It's the validation from the external. And for me, I get validated so much from my own internal self. I only do these races and challenges for myself. Now people see me on social media like, oh my God, Matt, he's probably running marathons to gain clout, to gain more followers. But no one said that shit when I had 1,000 followers 3 years ago and I was running the Goggins challenge, 4 miles for 4 hours, every 4 hours for 48 hours. I was doing that to challenge myself. It wasn't for the followers.
You just so happened to record it and share,
Parker,
right, with the
period.
world.
So it's interesting for me too, because like, I always tell people, like, everyone's like, yo, Matt, like, you became this overnight success, all these things. Like, if people actually saw what I was doing 3.5 years ago, if they understood the mindset I had then and how it's so similar right now, people would be shocked at what patience can do in your life.
God damn, man. That was beautiful. I think I have so many comments on that, but the one thing I want to say is on the overnight success piece, right? People notice overnight success because they joined you at the last 90% of your journey, So to them, it's overnight. We've been having this mindset. We've been grinding on Elevation Nation, on your own mindset, on marathons, on your personal development, on your relationship, like whatever it is, for our entire lives. Like, it's hard to get people to realize that, but until we like start to document social media from like the day we were born, which scary enough I think is happening to the next generation, but like they're gonna see that evolution of like the struggles, the hardships, the going through it. I don't think we're going to see as many overnight successes now, and I think I'm so glad that you're talking about that misnomer, because of course Parker and I are not where we want to be, but we've been like getting attention now. People are like, it's so incredible that you guys started this thing. Like, what an amazing thing you're doing. I'm like, we started this like 3-4 years ago trying to just figure out our shit because we were confused. And now we're helping other people, and that was our goal. But it's like, no, to your point, this wasn't for clout. This wasn't an overnight success. This was for ourselves. And I think that's what it boils down to. Do it for you.
Yeah, fact. Matt, at the end of the day, and Sam, it's like, I feel like if you're continuing to look for validation from others or other things in life, you're always going to be looking. You're always going to be chasing that thing, because at the end of the day, you're looking for validation, whether you're successful in your work, you're successful in your personal life with relationships, or, your fitness or whatever. If you're always looking at other people to be like, oh yeah, Parker, you got it, man. I'm like, wow, you're going to be waiting around a whole lot, right? Like a whole lot. And at the end of the day, it starts within. It starts with you. To your point, Matt, you ran those marathons for yourself. I ran my first marathon. Damn, it was for myself and nobody else. And that felt good. Elevation Nation was started for me, started for Sam. And it just so happened that we wanted to share our stories so that we could help people along the way. But I don't go out and seek, external validation. Wow, our podcast is a failure or a success because someone said, or this comment, or we only get a certain amount of downloads. I think, I'm not at a point where I can say it's a success or not. I feel like it's checking a lot of the boxes that we want to check,
I love that, dude. Sam, when you were saying that I'm at like the 90%, Sam, I feel like I'm at like 25%.
Totally, bro.
You know what I'm
Totally.
saying? Like, and I think, the anxiety, I think a lot of people have those feelings because they're in a rush. They're trying to prove the wrong people right. When in reality, like, I love the Nick Bear thing, right? It's like, prove yourself right. Fuck what anyone else has to say, right? And I think in this world, because of social, because of the external things, whether it's cars, a beautiful wife, beautiful family, like a fat house, all of those things make us feel like we have to play a game fast, that we have to get this
Superficial.
thing fast, right? 100%, Parker. And social has now exposed it further, but it's even allowed people to like share their journey. And like, that's been my story, right? Like, it was just to Parker's point. I just flipped the camera around and I just started recording it. And it was in that mantra. I was in that framework of like a Gary Vee, right? Like, document your journey. Don't create content. And I tell the same creators, same people that ever ask me for advice when it comes to content creating or personal brand building. It's always the same game. Because if you're patient enough, at some point you will reach a breakthrough, or you'll figure out that this is not for you. And like, either or, it's totally cool. Like, there's levels of talent when it comes to being an entrepreneur, right? And it's just like sports. Some people are just God-given. They have talent that some people can never, ever recreate. But at the same time, some people can use their talent and still maximize it by working their face off. And whatever camp you're in, whatever God or whoever you believe in has given you, maximize the most of it and don't live with regret. And I guarantee if you do that, at least you'll be able to live and when you're 6 feet under, know that you tried your best and you gave your, you gave your all. And you can live with that as a human. And I would rather live with that than feeling like, oh shit, I got married early. Now I have kids and I can't do the entrepreneur. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm late. I'm behind. My friends are already married and if you continue to live in that framework of other people's shit, then you're already losing.
Not that there's anything wrong with, those things.
Of course, those things are great. And if that's what you value, then you should fucking do that.
Exactly.
But it's
totally.
I'm talking more about people that are complaining about their lifestyles, that are, right? That stuff. But if you're happy as shit at a job that you love, you're fucking winning. Like, entrepreneurship is not the only definition of success. Success is whatever you deem it to be.
Spot on. And one thing I want to add to that, Matt, and I'm speaking to myself here because sometimes I don't listen to my own advice, is you have to come up for air every now and then and evaluate, are you working your face off in the right place, right? Doing the right thing, paying attention to the right stuff, because it's real easy to get sucked into a goal that maybe you had a couple years ago or things that were on a certain path at one point in your life and say, I'm just going to keep grinding on this thing. Keep grinding because that's who I am, because I'm an elevator. That's what I do. I work hard. And then all of a sudden you look around and go, crap, I've been sprinting full speed in the complete wrong direction. And so I just want to add to that, because I think you're exactly right of work your butt off. Entrepreneurship's not for everyone, but your path, whatever you're on, may not be for everyone. Just because it's not like entrepreneurship, content creator, or normal job, right? Take a step back and evaluate on a, whatever it is, 6 month, yearly, 3 month basis of like, am I headed in a direction that I want to go? And if you are, grind your face off. And if you're not, reevaluate.
I love that, Sam. There's this Denzel quote. It's movement does not always equal progress. And people confuse that, right? And he said his examples, like his mom always told him, you could be doing high knees in place in the same exact space and going nowhere. A lot of people live life in this fashion. They're doing a lot of things. They're filling their calendar with a lot of shit. But is it the right shit? And another thing, a mentor here in Austin told me, he's like, Matt, you're getting to that space now where like you need to separate what's an opportunity and what's a distraction. And sometimes as humans, we can't always see what the opportunity is or if it's in a distraction, because sometimes they're disguised as each other. And as you make a decision on your own personal lives on like, oh shit, let me take advantage of this, or let me go on this podcast, or let me do this thing, you need to then assess like, oh shit, was that worth my time or not? And regardless if that's a yes or no to that question, as long as you don't beat yourself up too much, because dude, I get distracted. Shit, like there's plenty of things I do every day that are not the most beneficial use of my time, but I do it because I believe in good karma. I believe on coming on people's pods is a positive ROI for myself and for other people in this world, because I was sitting in shoes just similar, and you guys have developed your thing, right? I'm talking about like when people hit me up that don't have much of a following, and they get shocked when I respond, and I'm like, yo, I'll pop on. I'll give you 45 minutes, right? I remember having my podcast during the pandemic, DMing people, hand-to-hand combat. Yo, can you come on my pod? Like, I would love to interview. I'd love for you to be a guest. I remember what that shit felt like. And for me to sit where I sit now, to have some growth, to have a little bit of wins that I've gotten along the way, to then feel like my head or my ego is too big to come bless someone else or give them love, it would be very ignorant for me. So I do a lot of shit that is not ROI positive, but I'm okay with it because I'm so patient, bro. I'm going to fucking be in this game forever. Me taking 45 minutes, an hour is not going to hurt me in the grand scheme of this world. And a lot of people get that confused when they see a couple wins on the board.
Well, first of all, we are very appreciative. I want to put that out there that you're spending time with us. We're hanging out, and Sam's going to move into your house very soon.
Sam's about to fucking move in.
I'm about to be your roommate, bro.
Just be prepared for that. Elevation Nation, Sam might or might not.
I don't know. You never know.
Moving to Austin or not.
Parker, can I tell a quick story with what Matt just said?
Oh yeah.
Just something that I was literally just thinking about, and it ties perfectly. So, have you guys watched what's it called, The Final Swing, or that new Netflix golf documentary that came out? I don't know if either of you have seen it.
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it, but I've heard good things about it.
Not all the way.
Very cool. But like behind the scenes of PGA golfers, and so this new rookie comes on tour. No one really knows who he is. It's his first year. And he's talking about how he signs autographs for all those kids because he remembers when his dad brought him to that same tournament, what it felt like getting an autograph from a PGA player. And I remember when I was younger going to basketball games or soccer games and getting those autographs and thinking to myself, I vividly have this thought when I was a 10-year-old kid of saying, if I ever make it where someone wants, a young kid wants attention or an autograph, I will spend as much time as I need to make their day, because you remember the impact that has on people. And it's just a cool thing. Matt, you said maybe the ROI isn't there for you. I would actually challenge you and say the ROI is 100% there for us, because that's what is our fuel. That's what drives us. It's internal, of course. We want to push ourselves, but the feeling that you're giving back and elevating the other people around you is essentially at the end of the day the fulfillment that we need for all the stuff that we're doing. So I love that you're still doing that, and I feel like the little kid. Thanks for coming on our podcast, Matt.
I'm super honored, bro.
I completely agree with what you guys are saying. I do think though at some point, Matt, you're a busy guy. You got a lot of things going on, and let's step away from maybe the thing that's going to make you another buck or building your brand on social or whatnot. You're also a person. You have family, you have friends, you want to live and do the things that you want to do that has nothing to do with how you spend your day or make your living, right? I mean, my question to you is being in Austin, you're surrounded by so many people who are grinding, moving, elevating every day. I can imagine it being very difficult at times to be able to step away.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. Dude, there's so much shit happening out here, bro. Bro, if I really wanted, every single day I could have something planned and scheduled or just pop into things, right? There's so much shit happening here. But I think really how I'm able to balance it is that, I'm really an introvert at heart. People really don't understand that about me, because when they see me on social, when they see me in person, I can do both well. And I'm in that balancing tool of 51% introvert, 49% extrovert. And in both cases, I love it. I love my solitude. At the same time, I love going to races, going to events, hosting events where people want my attention. I need to be on the whole time, right? Where you're just yo, people are popping in, question here, picture, Matt, say what's up to this video, all that shit. Where I'm able to recharge and refuel myself and giving myself self-love and self-time and self-awareness, all those things is in the solitude, bro. I spend a lot of time on my own, whether it's morning meditation, morning runs, journaling, even in the evenings when if I'm just chilling, I'll just do my own thing. And it's just time for me to decompress, because if you only show up for everyone else, right, and you're never showing up for yourself, then your cup's always gonna be empty, right? Because even if I'm refilling it and the faucet's on the whole time, if there's a hole in my cup because it is getting externally validated, at some point I'm never gonna feel fulfilled. No matter how many happy hours, no matter how many clubs and communities I'm a part of, if I can't love my own time and my own solitude, then it's never gonna be enough. So I think for me, the reason I'm able to balance it, Parker, is that I love the self-solitude and I love the opportunity to kind of work on myself, while at the same time, when I'm in those environments, I'm so fucking present and giving people my 100% time, effort, and attention. And it's that balancing act. It's like a contradictory. It's the ability to do both. And I think that's why I've been able to find the success in that space, because I'm able to give love for myself and also give it away to other people.
Thanks for sharing that, Matt. I'm going to challenge you. This is Elevation Nation. Sam and I do get vulnerable sometimes, and I want to challenge you. What you talk about success. How about a challenge or something that's been really difficult for you in the last month or so? And I want to hear you talk through like how you've approached it and went about overcoming it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll give you something just like, even what happened to me after the Houston Marathon.
Okay.
Like I got a lot of criticism. I got a lot of hate and negativity because I technically did not register for the race, but I still ran it. And I ran under someone else's name. And now there's a bunch of running nerds that follow my shit, or not even running nerds, but these are like the 1%ers of runners, right? And I got a lot of shit for basically being a cheater, being a fraud. Instagram influencer tries to qualify for a race for his friend is what the article got written as. And it was a lot of negative backlash.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this happened just 2 months ago. I ran the Houston Marathon. I ran a sub 3-hour marathon, but it wasn't under my name. So then people were speculating that I was trying to be a quote unquote bib mule, which basically means that you run for someone else so that you can get them into a race. The Boston Marathon is one of the most legendary races. And a lot of people work their entire lives to run a sub 3-hour marathon. And that's basically the criticism that I got. And dude, I work with a lot of brands. Nike, Dick's Sporting Goods, a list of others, right? When you get that negative PR, now it's hurting their reputation in addition to mine, right? So navigating through that was tough for me. It was the first time where I'm like, fuck. Like I, as a human, just it was human error. I made a mistake, but the way that the story had gotten written was such in a wrong point of view, right? And like people always say, there's always 3 sides of the story: yours, mine, and then the truth. And at that moment, it was only the story that got written that was public. And even for me, bro, I like literally, I got an email from my agency basically saying like, Matt, hold off on any other social posts surrounding Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods because they didn't want the bad rep because of what happened. Like literally, bro, I would make a post and all the negativity, all those fucking people were going crazy. Like, cheater, fraud, I can't believe that you're even fucking in the running committee. You can go down the list. I mean, the posts are still live, right? So navigating that was tough for me for about 48 hours where I was like, fuck. Like, dude, I was literally like, dude, I might lose out on all my brand deals. I might, like, this is how I make a living, right? And going through that mental stress, it was tough. Now, at the same time, navigating that, understanding that my intent for that race was nothing like what the article had been written, I was at peace with understanding that I would rather die on my own sword, knowing that I have the truth in my own eyes and I knew what my intent was, I knew what my values were. It was much easier for me to deal with all the repercussions on the back end. And I think for me, going into the new year, bro, I had a lot of momentum from last year. That kind of gave me that little like, oh, bring you back to fucking earth, Matt. Like, we're all human, right? We all make errors. We all make mistakes. And in that moment, I realized I'm like, no matter how much positive shit you're putting out in the world, no matter how good of a human that you are, you're not, like, people will always find that chink in your armor and try to bring you down to their level. And it's up to you as a human to not allow that to enter your fucking framework to make you believe that that shit is true. And even for me, I stopped posting for 2 days on social and I was like, hold on, let me just decompress. Let me not like feed too much into this shit. Cause at the end of the day, some people, bro, they get into something like that and that make or breaks their career. You know, like some people would not be able to overcome that and be like, yo, I'm done. I'm not going to post no more. I'm going to get into a different lane or whatever. for me, I just had some good mentors in my space and good sounding boards. And they were just like, Matt, at the end of the day, like when you're doing good shit, people are always going to try to bring you down. And for me, I understood that I wasn't trying to do the shit that was written. And I think to answer your question, Parker, like that was something that was tougher for me to navigate because it was the first time that I wasn't getting praise and like I wasn't getting like love for.
But it was also in the public eye, and then you're seeing an article like someone wrote about this thing that you did in a negative way when you had no intention at all to do anything wrong.
Bro, it was honestly like look, I'm far from the level of like quote unquote Kardashians, but like I had friends text me this article. Yo, Matt, have you heard about this? Have you like? I'm just like, oh fuck, like this is getting around now, right?
Yeah.
And it's just that it's external drama, right? Because it's all he said, she said. People are speculating the behavior and they're trying to make a story out of it. Like even the thought of this guy, he has a brand called marathoninvestigation.com. You guys can look it up. The thought of what he even does, like he literally makes a living off tearing people down. And I understand that he's trying to create a voice for people that are like illegally doing things in marathons. But ultimately, bro, like for me, I've gotten a lot of people into the running space, right? Like people that are not quote unquote runners and people that have a general understanding of like who I am as a human, even from social, can understand that like, why would I make content if I was trying to cheat? Why would I announce that I'm training for this race if I'm going to just cheat, right? Like that, it just doesn't make logical sense. But that was something, it was very interesting for me to navigate. And I think to answer your question, Parker, the thing I was most proud about of all of that was even after those 24 hours, 48 hours, like, you know, for me internally, it didn't change my opinion on what I was doing, who I am as a human. Like I was so confident still, even after fucking up, that I was like, yo, this is who I am. If something happens like that where like, yo, one door closes, for me as an entrepreneur, as a human, I always think like, what's the side door? How can I enter it? Like, how can I still navigate this? Like, just because one person says no, that doesn't mean it's no forever, right? And that's always been my mindset. And even when that shit happened, I was like, yo, if I lose out on all my brand deals, that's okay. I'd rather work with brands that believe in me, trust in me, and understand that the type of human that I am than just working with Nike and Dick's Sporting Goods because, you know, they're giving me a bag in that sense.
I mean, it's an incredible story, and I appreciate you opening up about that. It sounds like what it boils down to is you had something that Parker and I are obsessed with, this concept in Elevation Nation called mental fortitude, right? The ability to push through in adversity. And obviously that's throughout your life, whether it's a marathon or business or entrepreneurship. But I think all three of us are very kindred spirits and brothers from another mother, right? And like, I take it very personally when someone doesn't like me. Super personally. Something I'm working on with my therapist right now. It's like, well, why don't they like me? How do I get them to like me? What did I do wrong? And so for you to take that criticism in and say, they don't get the full picture, and I'll break it down to mental fortitude. How Parker and I explain mental fortitude to people in Elevation Nation is there's three parts: myself, my vision, and my fuel. I know who I am at my core. I know my morals and what I did was correct and not wrong. I know my vision. I have a broader goal. I want to inspire people through what I'm doing. I wanted to run a freaking sub-3 marathon. Like, that was my vision. And what fuels me at the end of the day is I want to be an elevator. I want to grow myself, improve, help other people around me, right? And so it's almost like this core pillar of mental fortitude and those three aspects that we have inside of us that when we face these challenges of adversity, just like take a deep breath, take a step back, be like, I know who I am, I know what I want, I know what drives me. Because if not, and I'm going through this a little bit right now with work, it's like I'm in a spiraling conundrum every day of like sprinting here, trying to get this person to like me, sprinting here to try to appease this person, freaking out, having anxiety over things. And it's like, you gotta take a step back and revert back to your mental fortitude and make sure you're running in the right direction.
I mean, it's for me, it's like the grounding thing, the mental fortitude, the framework that Sam and I like live our life by is like when things are really, really tough, I think about those three pillars: myself, like who the hell am I? What do I want out of my life? And what fuels me? And by grounding myself, having those introspective moments by myself where I'm sitting there and I'm really thinking about it, I'm like, okay, yes, this was a challenge. Yes, this was unfortunate. but this is it. This is who I am, what I want, and how I'm getting there. Like, that's what matters the most. And to be reminded of that is so important when times are good, but even more important when times are really shitty.
I love that too. I love the pillars, guys. That's fucking amazing. I fucking love that. I think, where I think about, guys, is Jay Shetty was on a pod and someone asked him, like, what's something that other people value that you don't? And he said, being understood. And that shit hit me so well, bro. I was like, fuck. Like, it's so weird. Like, I'm an immigrant. My brother is, like, obviously, like, we came from an Asian household. Growing up, all we wanted to do was, quote unquote, fit in and be understood and fit into the rest of the crowd. And I heard Jay Shetty say that shit, and I'm like, damn, that's kind of been my framework these past couple years. And it's like, I don't need to be understood. Like, I don't need people to understand that why I operate in a different framework or why I have this mindset, right? And it's like, I think, this even comes back to the original shit before we even recorded. Why Austin? In this community, bro, people can be whoever they want. You can be whatever you want. There's so many like-minded individuals, and I think that's why people love this fucking city. Because even when I was at home, I was developing this framework on my own. I was at my mom's house. I was doing all the things, the self-discipline, accountability, working all that shit. But it's hard when you're just on your own. Now when you have a fucking community of people that think the same exact way, or not the same exact way, but have some areas where it overlaps, it becomes this thing of like, you feel like you're not alone. And that shit can then take you to the next level where you're like, fuck, now I know that this shit is real. Like, this is a good thing to have this thinking. And I think that's, to even answer all of that, why Austin is so fucking special.
That's incredible. I mean, like, the way you described Austin too is like, it feels like a New York or an LA or a whatever. You got people from all over the world, people of different backgrounds, different mindsets, all of that, and they all come together. But I think there's something, to your point, very unique about the community and from the conversations we've had with our buddy Sam Levin and the Eckstein sibling. Like, it's just an interesting place where people beyond want to be very well off professionally, but like want to grow personally and professionally, like, and are really dedicated to that.
Let me add to that
cool.
understood
It's
point
cool.
real quick. Like, obviously Austin, like, all right, I'm convinced I'm moving. Like, hey Matt, I'm a new roommate. This is gonna be so fun.
Jeez, Matt, you just convinced him over 30 minutes.
My current roommate in
That's it,
DC,
Parker.
also named Matt, is not going to be happy.
like-
But anyways, all right. So this concept of being understood, right? Parker and I both Jewish, like growing up eating gefilte fish, similar-ish story. I want people to get what I am. Like, no, I don't
First
have
of all,
horns.
how often
what-
were you eating gefilte fish, though?
Bro, my
Like,
favorite damn
dude,
food. Don't be
it's
hating
like
on
once a
gefilte
year
fish,
is
Parker.
for me.
Don't be hating on it.
I didn't start to like it.
Matt,
till
you know
I
what
got
that
to,
is,
like,
by the way?
18.
I don't, yo.
Okay,
I want to
bro.
look it up.
All right. When I move in, AJ
It
and
would
Emily
look like the
would probably get you
grossest
some.
thing ever.
It's
but
like
it's actually delicious.
a football of gelatinous ground fish. It sounds repulsive. I can't wait for AJ and Emily to listen to this. They are gonna buy you. I'm gonna buy you a jar. I'm gonna send it to
might
you,
have to
bro.
send
It
you
is
for Passover.
hilarious.
I see it. It looks like
It is
bread.
gnarly.
Kind of.
It doesn't. It
You
doesn't
eat it
feel
with
like bread.
horseradish. Oh, man.
All right, whatever. I'm gonna get you some. That's hilarious. But anyways,
We're gonna
we all
send
want to
you
be.
some gefilte fish.
Yeah, it's disgusting. We all want to be understood at the end of the day. And I think the difference between you moving to Austin and finding your crew and us starting Elevation Nation to meet people with our common mindset is we are not spending time convincing people who we are, persuading people who we are. Yet, we have been searching to be understood. We started this podcast to find people who understood and related with us. You moved to Austin to find people who had that same drive, energy, and mindset as well. So I think there's a difference. To Jay said, he's like, I don't care about being understood. I think it's like a little tweak on that. I don't care about convincing people to understand me.
Facts.
I think it's important to find people who understand you naturally. And I think there's just a little difference there,
I actually no, I love that. I think that there is some validity in that, and I think what I would challenge is that, like, yes, even for me when I moved out here, it's not that I needed that affirmation or that validation that there's other people that think like me, because I know that there is, because the fucking guys I looked up to from afar. Gary Vee, Lewis Howes, all those guys, like I already knew that they had the framework, right? But to your point, Sam, it's just not having that urge or that feeling inside that you need to sell someone on something they don't want to believe in, period. And I 1000% agree on that shit. I used to push my ambition on a lot of my fucking friends, my fucking family. I used to try to think that, oh, why don't you think like me? You want to feel liberated? You want to feel free? You should fucking do these things. Do X, Y, and Z. I've kind of cut that out now. I don't want to sell anyone on shit that they don't want to believe in. If someone really asks me resources, books, things that help open up my mindset, that's one thing. But I'm not in this game of convincing no one. People now have gotten inspired by my journey and story, and then that leads them into wanting to be around my energy, right? But other people just don't have, not every human on this earth has the same level of ambition or drive.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. And I love that shit. We're all different, right? So I think it's, to your point, Sam, I couldn't agree more. I'm not in the game of convincing anyone but myself.
Wow. I love that. Well, I mean, for me, it's like there's people with so much more drive than me, so much more motivation, and then there's people who are less. And I'm like on this spectrum somewhere, and that's where I fall. And I'm with you. I think it's really interesting to your point, Matt, is that you don't go out and you're like, this is how you need to live your life. This is how you get to where you want to go. But there are some core things that maybe you can think about, or, you know, that you talk about, the concept, the frameworks that you live by that have helped you. And you know what? I'm going to share them. And if they help you, great. That's it.
Period. And if not, great too. Like, it's all the same shit.
At least you're thinking about it.
100%. Right? And I think, Parker, to your point too, like I've had mentors that told me, they're like, Matt, people now, like they're in your content and they want to know how to get there. Right. And whether it's the attributes, the delusional self-confidence, the freaking discipline, the persistence, the patience, all of those things, the qualities that make a great human or great entrepreneur, great business person, whoever, those are the things that people want. And then they want to know how to extract it, once again, as fast as possible. People want it as fast as possible. When in reality, it takes a level of time and commitment and practitionership to develop those things. It didn't happen overnight. Dude, if you guys interviewed me 4 years ago, I would be high energy. It would be super fucking fun. But there would be nuances of my story that would be slightly different because I had just started to scratch the surface, right? So I think it's one of those things, people underestimate what they can do in a year and they overestimate what they can do in a fucking month, right? It's just like, dude, we have so much time on this world. Like, if people actually stay true to what they really are passionate about, it would lead them to the promised land.
I'm just going to say one thing. I think you're 100% spot on, and I love that you brought that full circle, bringing it back to not overnight success. But if people do want overnight success, you just got to eat gefilte fish. That's it. At the end of the day. That's the
Are you
truth.
hyping up? Oh, my God. This episode is sponsored by gefilte fish.
Oh,
It
man.
doesn't look the most appetizing, guys. I'm not going to
It
lie.
certainly
Yeah,
is. That's
dude,
why.
it looks like
you gotta
shit.
just
I will
scarf
say
it down,
tastes
bro.
pretty
It
All right,
looks
I'm
like one
kidding.
of
I'm
those
sorry.
things
I
that
had
needs to be. It needs to be eaten with like something else to cover up the.
That's exactly it. We put horseradish on that shit, bro. Can't taste anything. You're good. We'll have to. We're gonna talk to AJ
It's pretty
and Emily.
good. We'll
get you the tour.
Hey, I don't want to be closed-minded. I want to try it before I make an assumption.
I love it. That's
enough.
That's an elevator
We
mentality.
need more people like that. I like that.
Matt,
Filter
we want to
fish.
move on because I know your time is valuable. Even though I honestly think I could do this all night. So this is incredible, and maybe we will when I move in with you. So we want to move on to our rapid fire section. Just a couple quick questions. First thing that pops into your mind. All right, just moved down to Austin. Big runner. That's your therapy. What is your favorite place to run?
The trail, easy. Ladybird Lake.
Ladybird Lake, baby. So beautiful.
We'll be running there when you move.
Hell yeah.
You're gonna have to help me.
I'm
with
gonna
my
have to
knees,
come
bro.
down. I want to go to Ladybird Lake. I might have been actually to Ladybird Lake.
It's the
before.
proper. It's the like right in downtown. It separates North and South Austin. It's
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think I
10-mile
might have
route.
been there.
Yeah, you probably had, bro. You definitely had.
Okay. What's your go-to snack? You're feeling like you're hungry. Boom. What are you picking up? Okay.
Protein smoothie that I make at home.
What? Like, break it down. Let's hear it. Recipe.
Oh, you guys are gonna love this shit. Hold on, I need to get this. So my protein smoothie, Mixed berries, I get them from Costco. They're frozen already. I throw in frozen kale. Then I mix it with water, and I put that into the blender first to just let that blend. Then I'll put milk or almond milk, depending on what I have. And then I'll put protein in it from ProMix. Shout out to ProMix. And I'll put Greek yogurt, honey, cinnamon, lion's mane, hemp seeds, and peanut butter sometimes. Mix that all up. Then it has a really fluffy smoothie. I consume it in two different parts. So it's like, it becomes like the current day and then the next day smoothie. But that's my go-to snack. It's got like 35, 40 grams of protein in each serving. And it's just like, if I'm needing to get my protein goal like numbers in, like it's a great way to hit it almost every day.
And that's a snack. That's not lunch there.
That's a snack, dude. That's like I eat 3 proper meals, and that's another just like addition.
All right,
I gotta up my calorie intake.
I'm gonna have to get that recipe. I wouldn't say I'm very.
Clip that part in Elevation Nation. Eat for men and women. 1 gram per pound is how much protein you should be consuming. Myself included. Most humans in this world are not eating enough protein, and it leads to lack of muscle. It leads then later on in the road osteoporosis, really like low bone density. So get your protein in. I mean, it's one of those things that's tried and true for both men and women, and most humans do not do enough of it. That's the fitness hack today.
Fitness, baby. Fitness with Matt. All right, last rapid fire question. What's your go-to song to pump you up and get you in the right mindset?
Fuck, I love this.
Me and You.
It's called Me and You by Russ. And it's one of Russ's OG songs. I'm a fucking big Russ guy.
Okay.
That shit gets me fucking hyped.
Yeah, Russ like 5-6 years ago was really, really like he was on it. And he's still, he
was that guy.
Dude, I mean, Parker, what are your thoughts on Russ in the current day?
I listened to him so much more back in the day. Like,
Fair.
I honestly this whole last year I've kind of moved away a little from hip hop, new hip hop, all that. I'm like on this jam band, like blues, southern.
Love it.
Yeah, like, and I'm like, this is great. This is all I need.
I love that.
Parker, you got to send Matt like one of the like 15-minute jam band songs that like is literally a trance state. That's got to be a great running song, I can imagine. Like you're just vibing, going with the flow.
Yeah, I mean, I got an endless list of running jam
Send it
band
over.
jams, and I'm just like, there's nothing better.
I love that. Send it over.
No doubt. All right, well, Matt, the rapid fire wasn't the last section. It's a fun section. We got one last section.
Okay, let's go.
And it is an important section because we ask one question, and we've asked this question to every single person who has come on to Elevation Nation. And what's really cool is that all the answers have been so unique to each guest. And that is about your mental motto, the phrase that you live your life by. Sam's got a mental motto. I got a mental motto. All of Elevation Nation has a mental motto. So, Matt, you're in Elevation Nation. We want to hear, what is your mental motto?
This is good. This is fucking good. It's kind of been changing, I feel like, throughout my years. But, more recently it's been, and I love Goggins, so it's kind of a Goggins thing too. But it's, you don't stop when you're tired. You stop when you're done. And I was really telling myself that during the marathon, guys. Like this past Austin marathon, like I actually got humbled a little bit. And like, the day before I didn't really prep myself properly. And, I was feeling the marathon, that next day. And it doesn't help. I ran the marathon like the month before. But, dude, I had to walk a little bit at the end of that marathon. Like the last 4 or 5 miles, I was feeling fucking sorry for myself. Achilles tendonitis popped up. I had full cramps because I didn't hydrate enough the day before. And I just knew, like, I didn't set myself up to have a day. And I just kept telling myself, I'm like, yo, you don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. And even when I was walking and feeling sorry for myself, I'm like, yo, just, walk when you need to and then get back into it. Like, get back on the horse, right? And I think for people listening, like, understand that every human has that. Like, no matter who you are, like, we're all human. We're not robots. Like, no matter, even David Goggins, like, there's moments in life where we feel that suffering. But, like, you can always push through if the mental fortitude is strong enough, like these guys are talking about, right? And I think that shit really matters. And in the long run, those life lessons and those life memories then become the fuel for the next struggle, the next stressor of life. So don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. Mic drop.
Mic drop. I guess if you're listening, you wouldn't be able to see the mic drop. But on YouTube, you will be able to. So I'm with that.
I love it, Matt.
I love that.
I mean, again, like I just said, I feel like we could do this for hours. I'm looking forward to doing this for hours, hanging out in Austin or DC or New York or wherever all three of us can get together and just hang out. We're going to be putting on some Elevation Nation events in some different cities around the country, and obviously would love to have you join. And it's just special, right? I mentioned it earlier in the podcast where we have this community of people who inspire each other, who, again, this is our first time meeting, and I feel like I've known you for my life. When you have that same mindset, you just click and you just get it. And so I'm so incredibly grateful that you gave us some time and share your story and some inspiration to Elevation Nation. I know I'm hyped up and inspired, and I'm really just grateful for the start of this friendship, man, and looking forward to living on your couch. So,
dude, it's been an honor, guys. Fucking great questions, and I love the conversation, man. It's been so much fun, and excited to meet both of y'all in person, man.
No doubt. Hopefully, if you're running the New York City Marathon, I don't know if that's in your cards for later in the year. I ran the Philly 2 years ago, and it was awesome, incredible, top 10 experience of my life. And now I'm getting the itch again. Maybe I'll do
New
it
York's
in New
the
York.
one, bro.
So if you're next to me, at least at the start, I'm not keeping up with you. I'll tell you that. 3 hours, whoo, no way. I'm looking more 4 hours, but all I care about is finishing.
Yes, I'll be in New York, so we'll make that happen. And honestly, bro, I ran New York last year, and I didn't have a goal time. I finished in 4 hours and 15 minutes because I wanted to have fun, and I literally was making. It was really fucking hot.
It was hot.
I love New York's got a special energy, and you should 1,000% do that one. It's unfucking real.
I would say if I did it, I would do it again in New York.
Let's go.
And I would also like to train with someone. I trained the whole thing before by myself, which was really interesting.
I want to get you connected, and I think someone that might be great for this pod, and it's someone that I've started to see on social, and I met him in person. His name is Tyler Swartz, and he's been actually.
I know
really
he went to Maryland with us. He went to Maryland with us.
Yes,
I would love that connection. That would be awesome.
Yeah, Parker, go fucking run with him. He's got a group out there called the Endorphins.
Yeah.
And they're doing some dope shit. So I'm gonna get y'all connected. I think it'll be a good friendship. And if you want him on the pod, awesome. But if not, still awesome. But that would be sick.
All right, Sammy.
Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace. Matt, this was, bro, you're the fucking man.